I gotta come on here and do a thing. Slight trigger warning on this one. This is the event of the 4th of July dog bite incident, where there is lots of blood and injuries, and we don't capture the fight and all the bites, and we don't capture the fight on camera or the blood loss on camera. But you do kind of see in the background, you do see some of the injuries, because Brittany wanted to show everybody everything, and I'm going to be real tactful with how I present that on screen. But also, there's a lot of description of the way the dog fight and the way the blood loss was going down and all that stuff. So this is kind of a trigger warning for anybody who might be nauseated or queasy. But so yeah, this is it. So you have been warned. Long time no see. Actually, it's not long time no see. Not for us, or not for you, but for us, it's been a while. We've been out of touch for a little, and that's okay. We've actually had some crazy weeks. Things have been slow, but ever since the last time that you've seen us, we've been pushing the business forward. It's been going pretty good. Really enjoying it. Brittany's been trying to find the line to walk between pushing herself and getting work done. But more importantly is what happened last night. Brittany, you want to show your hand real quick? There you go. Yep, she's got a little busted up thumb, and the reason why she has a busted up thumb is because she got in the middle of a dog fight. It's 4th of July, actually it's the 5th of July. On the 4th, we went to go view a fireworks show, and everything went well, and we came back home, and the dogs started getting antsy, and I went outside to take care of some things, to get some stuff back into the car, back into the house from the car, and I heard her screaming. So I run back in, and there's blood everywhere, and she is lying on top of one dog, holding him down, and the other dog's got its ear in its mouth and just tugging away, trying to rip. Butter was trying to rip Milo's ear off, and she was on top of Milo, holding him down. But anyway, I managed to separate the dogs and, get them separated. Come to find out, not a drop of blood was either of the dogs. The dogs were fine. Brittany shoved her hand in the middle of the dog's mouth to get it off, to get Butter's mouth off of Milo's neck. She had to pry his mouth off, and that wound up with a very large gash in her thumb, which they think went down to the bone and probably have caused some, not probably, we're prayerfully hoping that there's no nerve damage, but she's supposed to move and try to get some range of motion back in her thumb over the next week or so. Also, she's got a bunch of bite marks on her legs from whenever she used her legs to get the dogs apart, and that didn't help. Did you say something? She is not actually on any medication right now. She is very, very out of it. She's just super tired and very groggy. I'm guessing it was just all the exertion from yesterday and today. And today she had to go to the doctor, take care of everything. But so yeah, wait and see. That's about the long and short of it right now. We're just gonna wait and see how she heals. So anyway, but there's the dogs. They're just back to their normal selves. Oh, I'm Butter. I'm just taking it easy. And I'm Milo. I'm all just chilling out. No, look, Milo's all interested now. Anyway, I start cooing and saying Milo's name. He freaks out. Anyway, so yeah, it's been our life the last couple of days. We'll see what happens. Anyway, hope you guys hang in there.
They're bruising really bad.
Yeah, they really are.
And all this area too.
Yep. I want to know who bit you so I could beat them with a broom.
Well, Gran and I were actually looking at that, and I'm pretty sure that it was Milo because I don't think Butter's mouth, I don't think this mouth isn't wide enough to be Butter.
But this mouth is.
No, I don't think
Well,
those
this
are.
one.
Maybe, yeah. But I'm pretty sure that this. I guess I can show this.
I'm not sure if you should be showing all the. I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. Is it demonetized or whatever? Well, not monetized, but get your.
I can put a trigger warning at the beginning that says, "Hey, injury shown."
Yeah, true. But anyway.
What do you mean?
Are you still recording?
Yeah.
You should have seen the clotting that was happening whenever you were in shock when it had just finished. Like, basically, like when I carry you over to the chair. Do you remember going to the chair? When I sat you down.
I remember being in the chair, but I don't remember getting to the chair.
Yeah. Well, we got you to the chair. You were dripping blood everywhere, but we got you to the chair and we started to clean you up. And whenever I wiped down your leg to clean up all the blood that was there, it was like I did this, and when I did, like several chunky clots were ripped out of the hole and just bloop, just slapped on my.
Ow!
Sorry, just kind of slopped onto my hand. I was like, brr.
Like chunky, like.
Yeah, it was like basically like the clotting was already starting to go stop the blood from flowing in these deep puncture wounds. And whenever I ran my hand over it, I picked them up, and the top part stuck to my hand, and it just pulled the plug out.
Wow.
And it was just like this big bloop, just stuck to my hand. It was really, really unnerving.
Yeah, I can imagine. That sounds like surgery clotting, like somebody nicked something and it just turns into chunks of blood.
Yeah, it was chunky. Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I don't remember most of the event.
I really don't remember most of
Deciding to do an update when I'm coherent because, fun fact, I told Darren tonight as we were bandaging up my thumb again, I was like, hey, we should probably do a video recapping what just happened. And he's like, I did that yesterday. You told me to do it yesterday. I was like, what are you talking about? And
the previous video that you just watched.
there's a video on my phone that I had no idea that we did. Yeah.
Although at the time, your method of communication was like this. Yeah, that was the best that you could communicate.
Oh, I'm getting all wet. I'm sorry.
It's peroxide. I'm not gonna. Here,
We're,
let me.
we're trying to clean the leg bites before we go to bed because we got to rebandage them. I look like a little kid. No, Milo, don't lick the
Don't
peroxide.
lick the peroxide. He loves peroxide. After he got into the brownies and we tried to give him some peroxide to make him throw up, now he's like, peroxide.
It's food.
This dog. I don't understand. Whatever.
I think that cut was there before. No big deal.
Well,
Man, I didn't realize how deep these were. Yeah, so I don't remember the fight. I remember Milo was out in the house and Butter was locked in one of the rooms because they already were on edge, but I thought by the time I let them out that they would be fine. But I let Butter out and Milo freaked out and all of a sudden they were going at it and it was aggressive really fast. They've done this a handful of times before, but this one was very, very sudden. And so anyways, I just remember screaming, and then next thing I remember, I'm on the floor, and I know at some point I managed to stand up a little bit with one of the dog's collars in my hand, and I tried to yank back, but they yanked me forward, and I fell on top of, in the middle of them.
which is the absolute worst place you could be.
And then I don't remember. The next thing I remember is making a comment about how my clothes were ruined.
Yeah, I remember that. It was when we were walking back to the
I looked
chair.
at my clothes and I was like, there's blood everywhere. These pants are ruined.
Yeah, that was us in the chair.
And I don't remember getting to the chair. Darren said he had to carry me to the chair.
Well, I didn't carry you. You walked, but you were very groggy. You were still in shock. So, full on shock. I remember whenever we finally got the dogs separated and I was able to, come back to you, you just picked up your hand and looked at it, and there was just blood just like draining out of your hand, and you just looked at it, and it was like, she's in shock. So I got you to the chair, and once we got you to the chair, we started to clean you up.
Thankfully, Gran was here. Like, Gran was a lot of help.
Well, yeah, I mean, technically, I would have been able to do it. Like, I knew what to do, I knew how to do it, but it was...
You were not okay. I was, like, that's the one thing, I kept on trying to hear you. Like, I kept on trying to talk to you, and I couldn't talk to you to tell you that I was okay.
Because you weren't okay.
But I was watching you, and, like, all I wanted to say was, like, no, baby, it's okay, I'm fine.
Yeah, you weren't fine, though.
But I am.
But you were in shock because you were bleeding everywhere. You literally, like, lost it wasn't a pint of blood, but you were losing a significant amount of blood. Let's be honest, you ain't the biggest person in the world. You don't have a lot of blood floating around in there.
Yeah, and I'm anemic. It's not like I need to lose the little bit of blood I do have.
Next time we go to Indiana, she's gonna be like, oh, your blood level's low. Like, yeah, I wonder why.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, but no, if Gran wasn't here, I would have been able to handle it, but I was really thankful that she was here, because she really did help a lot. And of course, Gran being Gran, she was just like, I got this, and I was just kind of like, okay, and I just like sat back, and then I was in shock. Like, oh, okay.
Darren was definitely in shock.
You don't even know what that word means.
Yes, I do.
You just heard me use it, so now you're like, yeah, you were in shock.
No. There were several times that I looked over at you. I understand what in shock means, because I looked over at you and you could not speak. You were just staring like this.
I've been in shock before. I've been there before. And I might have been a little shocked last night.
Yeah. I mean, I can't blame him. It is a freak situation. Because, like, he walked in, like, I remember him walking the door, and I thought, thank God somebody's here to help me. And, yeah. Like, I remember him just for a split second, like, what in the world? And he just stared at it. And then I started shouting. I don't know what I shouted, but I shouted, and apparently it worked, because then the dog fight was over. And
I rushed over to you, and you were like, get Butter off of Milo. And I just grabbed Butter and yanked him back. And
Which I tried to do, but I wasn't strong enough.
He had a death grip on Milo's ear. That's all he had. By the time I got in there, you had successfully stopped all the major damage from happening.
Well, that's good, because I didn't want either of my dogs to die. And
when I pulled, like, you were like, get him off of, or get Butter off of Milo, and I was like, okay, I just yanked, and his ear, he's got so much hair that it was just like, it was a comb. He was combing his ear with his teeth. That's all he was doing.
It was actually a blessing in disguise, because we've been saying that we were going to get Milo's haircut for a while now. And Brian pointed out a very good point, that, like, because Milo's hair is so thick, it's probably what saved him. Like, the thing that gets me is, it's part of what you've got to know when you rescue a dog, because this dog spent the first year of his life locked in a crate. For the most part, he was never exposed to people or to other things, and so, like, everything is new to him. And instead of him being, like, completely curious about it, he's completely scared about it. And so he goes into these flight or fight modes, and on top of that, he's extremely jealous, because he realizes, oh, these people love me, they're my people. And if we are in a situation where he was with us by himself for the fireworks show, and it was when we came back that Milo was acting extra jealous, because we were with him by himself, and so he had all of our attention. And when we had to come back and spread our attention to other dogs, he was not happy about it. And Butter is the alpha, and
Milo does not know to stop.
And Milo just is he's just a puppy. He doesn't realize, hey, this dog's trying to kill me. He's like, oh, we're playing rough. Okay, let's go. And he just comes back for more. Because afterwards, he's still, like, poking at Butter, like, ooh, we're playing. We're like, no, we're not.
Dog just tried to kill you, and you're going to go back and poke your nose back into the hornet's nest. Like, okay. Do you need some help?
Maybe.
Are you going to, let's rephrase that. Are you going to let me help?
I don't know.
Okay, well then I'm just going to sit here and watch you struggle until you ask. How about that?
Well, you can open Band-Aids for me.
I guess I can do that. Did they give you enough Band-Aids? Did they even give you Band-Aids?
They didn't give me Band-Aids. We have Band-Aids. We're cancer patients.
We're going to need some more Band-Aids, though.
Yes, we are. We're cancer patients.
We have
first aid.
We have first aid. One of the blessings in disguise of being a cancer patient is you very quickly gain a
A lot of first aid knowledge.
A lot of first aid things. I just totally ruined my
See,
ability.
I was better at it myself.
You know what? You
the
are.
thing that they're worried about the most is the infection and the fact that my thumb can't move very well because my thumb's not broken. And so technically, if there's no damage in my thumb, theoretically, it should be able to be moving right now, but it's not moving very much. And so they're worried about like tendon damage or nerve damage, which it has been moving a little bit better today.
Praise God.
So it has made a little bit of improvement, but it's still with significant pain. And I hope that it's enough improvement.
I did it again.
Why did you? So we have to apply this cream. What the bottle says is 3 times a day, but I swear in my doctor's office I heard like just change your dressings, let them air out and change them once a day. And so that would be like only putting the ointment on twice a day or something, you know? But I don't know, maybe we are supposed to do it 3 times a day because
And you could do these 3 times a day.
Yeah.
We would cut through a lot of our Band-Aid supply, but I don't even know if we have enough Band-Aids to cover the mess that you got on there right now.
Yeah, just open a new box.
Okay. Well.
But yeah, so we're doing okay. We're doing okay.
As always, we're doing.
Everything just comes out of the wash.
Just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
What do? We swim.
You okay?
I don't know. It's a lot of swimming lately. It'd be nice to just float for a while.
We were floating.
That's true. We were floating.
Yeah, we haven't been posting in a while. So
Because we've been floating.
Because we've been floating.
And it's actually been very enjoyable to just float and for nothing
Crazy.
bad to happen, and then something bad happens. But we need to get better about vlogging the good stuff too, because good stuff does happen to us, and I want to make sure that we document that too.
I have a lawn guy who came to take care of the stuff in the backyard.
Oh, that's true. I love this story.
And
you gonna tell the story?
Yeah. Basically, he took care of us once. My next door neighbor paid to have my backyard taken care of because
We neglect our backyard.
It's a little difficult, but
But that's mostly because the backyard is like filled with weeds and like
trees. Like
mini trees that pop up.
I'd cut down a bunch of
plants.
trees and threw it into the yard with all the intention of moving stuff, to the out to the garbage.
But that never happened because of cancer.
Cancer gets in the way of everything, so it didn't happen. So the weeds just kind of grew. I mean, we're talking like 6-7 foot tall, occasional weeds just like growing through this mess. And
So anyways, we have the weeds, and this guy comes.
this guy comes over, and he's like, I called him in. He shows up, and he's like, all right, like looking at my yard, and he goes, all right. Like, I was expecting to pay like $500, $600, $700 for the yard. Like, I knew it was going to be a pricey chunk, but I figured if I can just get it to the point where I can handle it, I can take over from there. And he looks at me and goes, he's like, look, I know. He's like, I just lost my father to cancer. I think he said like 3 months ago.
From a long battle.
Yeah, like he had like
Almost lifelong battle.
So he says like, look, I know how hard it is. Like, I know what the money's like. I know all this stuff. And he goes, so here's what we're gonna do. Like, you tell me what you can pay, and I'll do your backyard for it. And I just kind of picked the number that was in my account at the time, which was 500. And I was like,
because we were trying to build back up savings.
yeah. And I was like, can we do 500? He's like, I'll do it for that. And I was like,
and then he kept trying to get the guy to go lower, and he kept trying to get Darren to go lower. He's like, are you sure you can do that? Like, we can go lower. Are you sure that you could do 500?
well, when I asked him, I said, like, what would you have done my backyard for? And he's like, you don't want to know. And I was like, yes, I do. And he's like, I would have done it for 1,500. Like, that was what I would have charged people. And I just kind of stopped and said, like, I can't give you 500. I have to. Let me at least meet you halfway. Let me do 750.
He's like, I'll figure it out. We'll make payments. Like, we'll do whatever you need and everything.
And he essentially said, okay. And then we talked some more, and he was like, look, are you sure you can do 750? And I just looked at him, and he was like, we're gonna do it for 500. I was like, all I could do is just like, it was everything that I could do to keep him crying. Like,
he was crying when he came in from the conversation. Like, he did, and I thought something was wrong, and he's just like, God's still taking care of us. And I was like, well, yeah, but how? What happened? Is everything okay? And he's like, God's got us.
Yeah.
Because when things like that happen, it may be through the generosity of a stranger, but we believe that it's a gift from God. That's what God does. He uses people to impact our lives in a positive way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part 2 of random, almost midnight updates, because we're behind on doing videos. We are talking about the good things that have happened to us. Welcome back to the show.
The show.
Hey, our life is like a reality TV show. It's like the stuff that happens to us
Is absurd.
It's like
Truly absurd.
okay, that's the kind of stuff that people laugh at movies because it's like that would never actually happen, but it's funny
Because it keeps happening.
because it keeps happening. But it keeps happening.
Yeah. The insurance still hasn't paid the contractor. House is fixed, but
Oh yeah, our house is fixed. We have a roof. We have a porch.
insurance still has not paid the contractor. So
We're chasing down insurance money, which insurance from the very beginning was an issue that we ran into. Like it was difficult from the get-go.
yeah, our next door neighbor, his house just got started on. So I don't know what all that was about. But his house got damaged the same time ours did.
Not nearly as much. Like
Yeah.
just the very corner of his roof.
No.
Didn't even affect like it was the corner of his roof, like not even on to his porch, like literally the part that hangs off of his porch.
Anyway, so that's been fun,
We have had a lot of positive strides in the business.
big time. Speaking of last month we doubled our clientele,
Yes.
like
We have doubled our clientele
which
within
we
the
still
last
got to
month.
talk to our associate blogger about how many we're going to
Hey,
give
no.
him and what we're going to do going forward and all that stuff. We got to have that discussion because now you're more
The
coherent.
The business has grown to where we,
We have two.
with Darren still being at his full-time job because of the good insurance, Darren can only take on so much, so many clients, and so we have hired and trained associate writers underneath us. We've got one trained that he's still in his probationary period and learning the ropes, but he's doing amazing so far, and the clients who work with him absolutely love him. We also have a second associate writer that has just started with us. Like we haven't even given him the training yet. He has gone through all the interview process and everything. We're really excited to work for him. But since hiring our first associate writer, we got a lot of feedback from him, associate writer number 1.
Hey,
And asked him like, hey, what went good about your training? What went bad? If you could do something different and it would have helped you train better, do it this way. What would it be?
and he gave us some really good feedback.
He gave us some
and
really good feedback
We wanted to incorporate it before we hire on,
before we start training for the second associate writer.
which unfortunately it's taken us forever to get the material to actually getting the material made.
We thought it was going to be a quick process, but the more we got into it, the more we realized that there was a lot more to update than we thought. Because the first time we hired an associate writer, our systems were completely different, and so associate writer number 1 has basically grown with our systems, and so he doesn't need them re-explained to him. But writer number 2 hasn't actually ever been introduced to our systems before,
So we gotta
and
start
the
over.
new systems that are more complicated than what our original associate writer started with all had to be written into the guidebook and everything as well.
Let's give us a minute. Take a look at her leg. Nice and bandaged up. It looks
It's like I'm playing doctor.
it's exactly like that.
It's like I'm playing doctor. But one of the biggest pieces of advice that our first associate writer said was that videos would have been really helpful for him, especially for people who are audio and visual learners. And so we've been taking all the information that we did have in written form and compiling it into verbal as well, and doing several video walkthroughs so that they can have things to reference back to if they ever get stuck on a problem. And so that, between me getting sick, because I'm doing better overall, but we still haven't figured out how to measure where my wall is going to be. And so my wall comes out of nowhere and all of a sudden I can't work anymore.
I can't work. I have to sleep. And then she sleeps for 3 to 6 hours, depending on
How bad it is.
how bad you surpassed your wall.
Milo, no chewing on the pillow. No Milo, monster. No.
Quit.
No treasures.
Quit.
No treasures.
So I don't know if he's already eaten the corner off of that one pillow. He's eaten the corner off of every single one of our pillows.
Yes, he has. They warned us about that. about him when we got him. When we rescued him, they said, don't put pillows in his crate because he will chew them all up. And that has been true. That has been true.
Also, Milo has had the super squirts for a little while.
Oh, he did for a little while. We were worried like something else was going on, but apparently it was just something he found as one of his treasures.
Got some garbage gut. And
Milo likes to treasure hunt, as we call them, and he puts them into his cave. He's like a dragon. He hoards all the gold,
treasures.
all the treasures,
And they could
sticks
be-
it into his cave.
Could be anything from this to some of this to these.
Like seriously, like
all the way to Visine bottles and entire pans of brownies.
or random paper towels with chicken juice that he got from the kitchen. Like we now have
Oh,
two
what were
chairs.
the makeup wedges?
Oh yeah, he loves makeup wedges.
Makeup wedges. Apparently they like feel good on his gums or something.
Milo, not that pillow either.
Hold on, let me see if is this one.
No,
this
that's
one's not damaged.
We threw away the other one that was damaged. Anyways, yeah. Milo likes his treasures.
We love him.
Milo likes his treasures.
He's so sweet.
And he gets very upset when mom and dad steal his treasures. And
And we
now
have
he's going to chew on his bone,
His pacifier.
which is his pacifier, which he's allowed to do. You chew on the bone, not the pillows. There you go. And now you're going to hear gnawing for the rest of the video.
Speaking of, I probably need to hit the hay.
I need to catch up on client work since apparently I texted clients yesterday. I have no idea. I do not remember texting clients.
I mean, we're talking like page and a half. Like, it's not abnormal for her to do page and a half like updates, but
Long tags, yeah.
But it was like, oh, these really sophisticated text messages, and she's like, I have no recollection of sending them. Baby, you just do business in your sleep. That's all.
I literally, like, people were saying, like, oh, how are you feeling today? And I'm like, Darren, did you tell everybody?
Like, no, you did.
And I was like, and I'm scrolling back through my messages, and I'm like, what? When did I say this? It was bad. It was bad.
We should probably tell some of our clients that.
I think they all know by this point.
You don't recognize that.
Oh, no. I've only told one of our clients that I didn't recognize I messaged them. Would you please stop picking at my toenails?
I like your toenails, though.
That's weird.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
not.
It feels gross. It's weird. Okay, good night.
Myers out.